course. Thank you for having me on board. This is an exciting time to share a little bit about my journey as an entrepreneur. I've been teaching Danish for adults since 2015. I have a background in international development. I've worked briefly at the United Nations HQ in New York City, and then at Transparency International in anti-corruption and good governance projects. After 4 years in that field of work, I came back to Denmark in 2015 and started teaching Danish for a company. We have a welfare society where taxpayers contribute to services that are free for everybody. And one thing that the Danish government offers is free Danish lessons for skilled workers that move to Denmark. Denmark is a bit of a VIP club in the sense that not everybody is just allowed to immigrate to Denmark. We need to, at least the Danish government is very much focused on controlling immigration and making sure that people come to Denmark not only are ready to work in Denmark, but also to integrate well in Denmark and understand Danish values. And they have a certain success with that in the sense that we don't see the same amount of social, what shall we say, polarization and disparities as we see it in, for example, Sweden or France. It's difficult to compare countries, but it's been very interesting to see how Denmark has managed to some extent, have a successful integration of the labor that they invite to come to Denmark to live and work. And so through the taxpayers' money, we offer, the Danish government has a series of service providers, language schools that offer free Danish lessons to foreigners, adults from all over the world, both EU citizens and non-EU citizens. These Danish lessons are, of course, a way to help people get off to a good start with learning the language. They are for free for up to 5 years in Denmark, as long as you have an address and a social security number. So once you have the Danish CPR number, social security number, you have a right to free Danish lessons, like can be twice a week, typically twice a week, physical classes online. And you're typically together with a lot of people, 15, 20 students, can be really a good way to learn the basics and to get a network and meet friends. But these Danish lessons also need to state exams. So if you want to, for example, apply for permanent residence and later citizenship, one of the requirements is to pass the PD3, it means Prøve i Dansk 3, which is exam in Danish 3, which is it corresponds to the language framework, a European language framework. There's A1, which is beginner, then goes to A2, B1, B2, C1, C2. C2 is absolute fluent, total mastery of the language. And PD3, the Danish state exam that most people are required to take, is the equivalent of B2 level. So it's a pretty high level, and you're expected to be able to read, write, and speak about Danish values and topics that are important in Denmark, such as gender equality, how the labor market works, how the healthcare system works, understanding of the welfare society. So these state exams not only require you to actually speak conversational Danish, but also to show in your reading and writing a pretty high academic understanding of how the Danish welfare society works and its values. Now, not everybody needs to learn Danish this good. Many people take maybe beginner modules 1, 2, and 3, and there's a total of 5 modules. And that's fine. And you can get a long way with Duolingo, some free lessons for the first 6 to 12 months. But for skilled labor that need to work in high-level positions such as doctors, also nurses, and also dentists, they have a high level of responsibility, and they're expected to pass this Danish state exam, not only to pass it, but to pass it with high grades. And with high grades in reading, high grades in speaking, and really high grades, high grades in reading and writing, and really high grades in speaking. Obviously, if you're a doctor, Danish people expect you to be able to communicate in a very fluent level of Danish at a high level. So this is here where we come in. So I was working in front of these state schools, actually language schools that are hired by the municipalities. And I was working in the same school for around 7 years. I just thought I would be teaching Danish for a couple of months, but after 2 months, I was like, oh my God, I'm loving this. I can be on stage. I can make people laugh. I can make YouTube videos.
Wow.
People enjoy my experience from abroad, and I can get to work with internationals and not only just with Danish people who are very nice, but can be boring if you're used to a very international environment. So after 2, 3 months, I was like, I'm loving this, and I started making videos. And today I'm a little bit famous in Denmark because everybody who moved to Denmark has at some point seen one of my YouTube videos or heard my podcast on Spotify and listened to it, which is great. But I did teaching for 7 years at this one of these official language schools, state schools. And then came COVID. And after COVID, I realized that people had now gotten really used to do stuff online. And I thought, okay, now's the time to launch my little business. It didn't go well the first time round. I wasn't really ready for it mentally. But the second time, I was more stable and energized. And so after in the second try, it worked. I started with offering some free Danish lessons to gather some attention around our lessons. It was all online. And I launched it in September 2022. So the first couple of months were just free lessons, and very quickly people heard about us. Obviously, many people knew me already. And so 2023, we had 50 to 100 students going through a little online language school at different levels, but primarily with a focus on helping students through the last level, these state exams, right? And 2023 was an amazing year. I worked 10, 12 hours every day, especially up until the exams. Just before the exams, people really needed my help. But it was amazing to see that I could build and launch my own little business thanks to my online presence, thanks to my YouTube videos, Instagram, Facebook, which I'd been running for at least 4 or 5 years. So I was definitely known and people had, I think I'm good at what I'm doing. People really enjoy my teaching method and my deep knowledge of how to pass these state exams, which is really, I'd say 20 to 25% of it is knowing how to deal with the different assignments and strategizing. So it's also coaching and consulting my role. Anyway, last year was amazing. And now 2024 seems to be as good, but I work smarter, as in I delegate more and I only work maybe 6, 7 hours per day. I don't do these crazy long hours. I watch my health, and now I use reading glasses because working in front of a screen long hours is not good for me. Maybe it's also age, but I don't regret, launching my little business. Every day I'm online. Every day I post a little Instagram video. I now use apps that make subtitles for my little 1 to 1.5 minute videos, and it's usually, but oh, today we're gonna buy some. Well, today's video, which will be on Instagram right after this meeting, will be about me walking to the nearby local store to buy transparent plastic boxes because I want to clean up my basement. It's just an everyday trivial topic, but I'm really excited about it because I'm like, oh, now I can finally, organize my basement and yada yada yada. 1 minute about an everyday topic. And people like it because it's not, oh, this is the word of the day or this is a grammar sentence. So I have a different approach where people just get to know me and just follow me. I think I could have had a much bigger growth. I think a person that is doing the same thing as me, offering like Danish lessons, she started 2 years ago. She has a strategy. She has a social media employee or intern. She has a clear-cut, well understood, what shall we say, identity, IG, social media identity. So it's easy. And I'm sure she has 30, 50,000 followers now. So I kind of do it my way, but I think what makes me so successful is mostly that we have really incredible results. I think 90, 95% of our students make it through these exams. And we always make sure to ask our students to, what's it called, write a review if they have had a positive experience. I asked them to write a review on, in the past, I would just ask them to write a review on Facebook. We have a Facebook page with around, I think, 4,500 followers, but nowadays, not everybody is using Facebook, so obviously Instagram, but there's something called Trustpilot. I think it's a Danish company, but I think most people know it by now, and we have exceptionally good reviews on that website. We have, I think now, something like 85 5-star reviews out of 86 reviews, and there's one 4-star review. Of course, I'm really disappointed because I couldn't. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So I have 4.9 instead of 5 out
Wow.
of 5. But I'm really proud because we put in a lot of heart and energy into each of these students. And you know, teaching is a lot of psychology and it's a lot of cultural understanding. And most of the time we get it right in the teacher-student relation, but every now and then there's a student like, oh, I don't feel like I was treated right, or why did you say that? So I'm also learning that, you know, I have to be careful in the way I treat each and every student from many different cultures. But definitely the word of mouth recommendations from other people who went through our school is by far the best and most efficient marketing. We had a young guy who offered his social media strategizing skills, like with, you know, Facebook pixel campaigns and sponsored content, and people just like, oh my god, why? Like I think it doesn't come across very authentic when companies, you know, do like sponsored or paid advertising on social media. And knowing that my business is really thriving through word of mouth and by seeing the good reviews, and every time people is writing in a Facebook group or on Telegram or Instagram, hey, does anyone know a good teacher to help me through this exam? People will spontaneously just write learning with Ervin, learning with Ervin. Oh, by the way, my name is Ervin and the company is called Learning with Ervin. But this is, of course, amazing. It's a beautiful journey. I'm very lucky that we have something that works for me and for people, but also it's a small country and it's a fairly small market, but I'm the only one who's kind of offering this kind of very tailored online, on the go, super narrowed down to the point, no bullshit, help to pass these state exams, right? So we definitely, if I'm half French, right? So I could have taught French or maybe English abroad, but there's a billion good teachers out there. I just happen to have developed a niche expertise in this helping students through the state exams. We also offer conversational Danish and other exam types of help. And I have one freelancer that works closely with me who does a lot of the teaching, and I have 2, 3 other colleagues that teach a little bit or correct assignments. So it's a one-man show plus a steady freelancer who works almost full time, plus a few other helpers. And now we have a professional accountant because last year was really good. And now when you start making a lot of money, you want to have your accounting in order. I'm not a very organized person in terms of bookkeeping and everything, but technology has made it really easy for me as an entrepreneur. I can always call the Danish tax authorities if there's an issue. People can do payments via their mobile phone, via this app we have in Denmark, so I can get an instantly payment with the tracking. So that's basically how my little business works. I'm sorry I've been speaking so much, but now you have an introduction to what
Yeah.
I do.
It was like very well rounded. Thank you so much. Like it was so lovely to hear your experience and like how you grow as a person, where you started out as a teacher, and then like you understood like, hey, there's something that I really love to do and I want to share and I can make it my own. So it was like really great to see how you make it. And like I think like you're a great person, and that's just like an amazing achievement. So I just like when I kudos you, it's like hearing your story is like very inspiring to me. And like understand like your train of thoughts of like how do you want to connect with your with the people that you learn from, that you're learning from you. So thank you for that. I think I'm just gonna maybe has like a bit like one follow-up question that is like related, but like so you did mention that you had people that like you work with like accountant freelancers, and you have like those like web like those platforms that you're using like Facebook, Instagram, Trustpilot. Um, but like maybe more specifically, do you have any like services that you are using that you're helping you maintain your business growth?
Of course, we have a website, and for entrepreneurs that sell things online, there's all these different platforms I can think of. I think Shopify and stuff like that. And
Mhm.
for course providers, there's a couple of famous ones. I can't even remember what they call. I think there's one called Oh, I forgot already, but I'm using one of the platforms which is not so known. It's called teachable.com, and it's a platform that is for me that works really well because I don't have to do any programming. I can just
Oh,
upload files to an existing format, and it looks good. It looks great. It's not perfect in the sense that my course is so immense and full of materials and videos that it would be nice, for example, that when you open the course, you don't have like 1,000, or at least there's at least 200 posts of things you can look into. So my students are always like, oh my goodness, where to start? So we have like an onboarding meeting with their Google Doc, and they have, okay, please read this welcome letter, please buy these dictionaries, please do this. When you're done, please start with this assignment, and then it links directly to the different videos and slides on the
that's good.
website.
That's
So
good.
that's a way to dealing with that. But honestly, teachable.com has been a great, all in all, a great platform for me. I have to have a website and it works. And I've looked at, it's an American company, and of course I'd love to hire a Danish company to do this kind of things, but you will have smaller companies who will like program and tailor make a website for you. But in terms of if there's something like in terms of stability, and if there's a server down or something, you just cannot compete with some of these big Americans, primarily American companies, that just have a whole ecosystem in place where you just log in and you're the creator and the admin and you just upload things and it just works, which is the most important. I started with the free version, then I had a medium version, now I have the pro version, and I think I'm paying maybe $1,500 per year, which is a lot of money. But for a business like mine, which is now thriving and making good money, it's what is it, $120 per month to have a website without, with just my own name, learningwithervin.com, where I can upload constantly every day, every week, and I can upload a new lesson recording.
Oh.
It just works. So I've looked at other options, but for now, this is what I'm using.
All right. Wow, that's great. Thank you so much. Uh, okay. So I think like I'm maybe gonna deviate from the general to specifically
Mhm.
regarding like the interview and like the things that I want to ask
Mhm.
regarding cyber threats. So maybe I can just like start with an intro. What are cyber threats that you can have? So in general, there are three mains that you as a customer or consumer
Mhm.
can have an experience. The
Mhm.
first one, for example, is phishing.
Mhm.
So if you clicked, or like even one of your students clicked
Mhm.
on something that wasn't like an email, let's
Mhm.
say, and then they got like your conditionals from it,
Mhm.
and they can get your password and so on.
Mhm.
First one, that's like the first one. I don't know if you encountered it or not.
Mhm.
Second one is hacking. So like someone can actually like get your materials possessed or something,
Mhm.
and like